Welcome everyone to this ministerial roundtable discussion in the mEducation Alliance Symposium. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are. My name is Juan-Pablo Giraldo. I'm an education specialist in UNICEF headquarters, and I'm very excited and honored to be honoring this discussion with exciting representatives from two very important countries in the world of EdTech. We have, on one hand, we have Honorable Adebayo Adefuye, Permanent Board Member of Lagos State Universal Basic Education Board. Welcome, Honorable Adefuye. And we also have, welcome. And we also have Dr. Waleed Alawiye, General Coordinator of the Digital School Initiative at MBRGI in United Arab Emirates. Welcome, Dr. Alawiye.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Yeah. So just to kick things, because I think it's very interesting for the audience when we're talking about EdTech and education systems. We know that the biggest and the most important transformations happen with national and domestic resources and national ministries of education. So I think it's very important if we're going to be talking about the real challenges and the real opportunities and what we are seeing, that both Honorable Adefuye and Dr. Alawiye, you can give us some taste of what you're seeing, both as implementers, as strategists, and as funders of EdTech initiatives that focus on foundational literacy and numeracy, the topic of the mEducation Alliance Symposium this year. So first to Honorable Adefuye and then to Dr. Alawiye, could you please tell us about your organizations and a brief description of your major EdTech responsibilities, initiatives, or programs? Honorable Adefuye, over to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pablo. Yes, my name is Honorable Baya Adefuye, permanent board member of LASUBEB, Lagos State Universal Basic Education Board. The Lagos State Universal Basic Education Board is an offshoot of the Universal Basic Education Commission, which is in Abuja, run by the federal government. The LASUBEB, which is Lagos State Board, is run by the Lagos State government, but in conjunction with counterpart funding from the UBEC, which I just described now. Now we are in charge of saddled with basic education, which is the primary education, primary 1 to 6, and junior secondary 1 to 3. The major, just a brief on LASUBEB. The board, it consists of a chairman, 6 board members, a board secretary, directors, and other staff that run the board. We're talking quality assurance, learning and development, IT, the PRNS, and other departments that are very relevant to basic education. Now, our main EdTech is the EKOEXCEL. Now, EKOEXCEL is an acronym. EKO is the Yoruba word for Lagos, which is EKO, and excels excellence in child education and learning. What this seeks to do is leverage on technology to greatly improve the quality and performance of our teachers and enhance the learning outcomes of our pupils. Now, EKOEXCEL is a program, apart from putting tablets in the hands of our teachers, you also learn classroom management skills, which help to make the classrooms more interactive, more engaging, more fun. Fun being a key word here because we've learned that children learn better in a fun, friendly environment. So we try to make the classrooms fun. That's what EKOEXCEL seeks to do. And there's something I call the smartphone theory, which says that if you give a child a smartphone on his own, he will learn all the features and everything. And in a month or two, he's an expert with the phone. The similarity I'm trying to make here is that if you make education attractive enough for a child on his own, willingly, he will come for learning. And when he does that, the learning becomes, learning outcomes are incredible. Apart from what the teachers learn to facilitate learning, there's also the back-end support. We have learning and development officers, quality assurance officers, and IT supervisors who go around making sure that our teachers to support and then and coach our teachers to ensure that their standard is kept up to date. This IT support, the teachers' tablets, they can do a lot of things with the tablets. They can take attendance with the tablets. They can enter scores. They can enter details and information on all the pupils, teachers, head teachers, and their parents. Now, this information, when you come in the morning as a teacher, you sync up with the smartphone, which is given to the head teacher. Now, this syncing of the smartphone automatically uploads all the information onto our servers. And our servers you access them through a dashboard, what is called a dashboard. Now, on this dashboard, all the schools are geolocated via those smartphones, because the tablets are not geolocated, but the fact that the tablets can go for 5 days without any need for charge. So that way, it's like a Kindle. It's just in the black and white, it's contrast and all that. Now, via this
Honorable Adefuye, I think we're gonna have time throughout the event to get into those details, and there's gonna be questions about it. So thank you very much, and I think that was a great primer for what's coming ahead. I'm gonna follow with Dr. Alawiye, and just to let the audience know that we are also joined by Mr. John Kimoto, Head of Educational Media Director at Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development. Mr. Kimoto will go after Dr. Alawiye with you. Dr. Alawiye, over to you.
Thank you, Juan, and it's a pleasure to meet all of you here. And I would like to thank the mEducation Alliance for having this gathering to share experiences from all around the world. I think an overview about the organization that I'm coming from, MBRGI Mohammed Barashid Al Maktoum Global Initiatives, is the initiatives that are led by His Highness Sheikh Mohammed Barashid, ruler of Dubai, Prime Minister of UAE. And underneath it, we have around 30 initiatives that are focusing on different pillars, including education, health, community development, and innovation and disease support. So from these, definitely education is a core pillar. And we believe education is an enabler to overcome all the other challenges. We have many initiatives at MBRGI under the education. One of the famous ones is Dubai Care, is one of the MBRGI initiatives. Personally, myself, I'm in charge of a number of initiatives, specifically Madrasa initiative, which is the e-learning platform, which provide free, high-quality digital content in Arabic. There is a huge lack of Arabic educational content, and we provided all math, science, and Arabic literacy videos. Around 6,000 educational videos are provided for students for free through Madrasa platform. And actually, the second initiative which I'm leading also is called the Digital School, which is meant to be kind of a progression from what we had previously in Madrasa as content to providing a full learning ecosystem to students. COVID proved to us that digital learning can do much more, can help us achieve sustainable development goals in education at a much faster pace. And we took that opportunity and we engaged with the global body of knowledge and expertise to make this happen. We are starting actually this year with our first batch, 20,000 students in around 5 countries, and we'll give you more details throughout this session.
Thank you very much, Dr. Alawiye. That is really interesting, and we're looking forward to knowing more about madrasa.org and the digital schools and everything you do at the MBRGI. Mr. Kimoto, the question right now is, well, a brief introduction of yourself and your organization, and the major initiatives, programs, or responsibilities that your organization has around EdTech as an introduction for the audience. So over to you, Mr. Kimotho.
Thank you, John, and I want to apologize to everybody for coming in late. I was running around and I couldn't get my link, and I found myself getting late. But all the same, it was in the course of service, and my apologies taken in. My name is John Kimotho. I'm Director of Educational Media. I work in the organization called Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development, responsible for developing the curriculum or making the syllabus available, and also the curriculum support materials. In this organization, our scope of work is the education sector for pre-primary, primary, secondary, and colleges below the university that do diplomas and certificates. For all those, we develop the curriculum. We also provide the curriculum support materials in form of quality assurance. Currently, the initiatives we are running is ensuring that every learner has a book. So for every learning area, for every subject, the learners get books from us. And we do this on behalf of the ministry. We also run a radio station so that, again, the scope of pre-primary, primary, secondary, and college, we cover that also using radio. Using TV, we have a dedicated TV station. And we also have Kenya Education Crowd, where we bring all these together, including quality assurance of those materials. That is it for the introduction, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Kimotho. Okay, so we are done with the introduction section, and I think it would be interesting for the audience, personally, to know how your three organizations adapted to COVID-19 in 2020 and what we have been going through in 2021. So I wanted to ask in the same order, started with Honorable Adefuye, then Dr. Alawiye, and then Mr. Kimotho. Where did you see, how did it change what you do in EdTech? Did you have to create new services? Did you have to do adaptations? It could be products or services or the way you engage the community. And a sort of a follow-up question, if you can answer immediately, is, are those adaptations meant to stay in a post-COVID-19 world? So did the adaptation of COVID-19 actually improve your services or change it for the foreseeable future? So Honorable Adefuye, over to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pablo. No one ever staged COVID-19, but we had to roll with the punches. We had to immediately launch. There was a website, EKOEXCEL.ng, that we used. We had instructional radio self-study packets available on the websites. That these are scientific materials that the children can use to keep themselves well sharpened at home. We had instructional radio instructional radio, by which they listen to the radio. They get radio lessons from the radio. Also, we had WhatsApp quizzes, which could be accessed from anywhere by sending messages to a dedicated number. Now, apart from all this, we had a lot of things done via online, like Zoom and different things to ensure that learning continued. And when the lockdown was lifted, we had staggered resumption. Now, this staggered resumption had to do with one set of people coming on a certain day, another set coming on another day. That's how we had to keep it then, so that we maintain the social distancing. We didn't want, children are very delicate. We didn't want them because anything, disease, pandemic, it spreads like wildfire with children first. So we had to keep them well spaced out. We give them over 450,000 MP3s were given out to the pupils to help them with home learning. And there were TV programs we also did, like Classroom in Your Home, which we had all different subjects being taught on a daily basis to make sure that learning continued. Now, with COVID, most of the things that we did, which was had to we now call blended learning, which is traditional schooling with off-site schooling. Most of what we did, well, we after COVID, they may not be permanent, but we will be making use of them because they have brought out a lot of things in what we can do and what we expect. And we have also learned to be ready and expect the unexpected. So most of those items that we put up and encountered, we are having them. Yes, they may not be that relevant or daily. The use may not be daily, but we do use them from time to time. We will use them from time to time. We have learned to blend them, as I said. We have learned to blend them, so they will still be there after COVID, and we'll still make use of them so that when anything comes up like that again, we are very ready, we're very prepared.
Thank you, Honorable Adefuye. Dr. Alawiye, over to you, same question.
Well, I know, I totally agree with Honorable Adefuye that it was a huge challenge that nobody expected across all the countries, even with countries who had infrastructure ready and technology and connectivity more available. Still, it is not only about infrastructure and connectivity. It's about the instructional design, how learning happens, how the educators are prepared to do that. For us, we had those first Madrasa.org as a platform. We highlighted more the role of this content, the quality of the content. We did integration. We had number of ministries of education, especially in the Arab countries, who didn't have content. We integrated with their platform to enable access to the content. We also focused on the awareness. So we did a number of educational videos, awareness on how to learn in remote learning context as a student, how to maintain their health, how to maintain their schooling schedule in this setting. We even partnered with the UNICEF and UNESCO to populate these videos, cartoon style, to kids, so they are more aware to this new norm of learning. In addition, the biggest adaptation was we've seen that the COVID hit impacted education heavily, without any doubt. But we've seen also that perceptions has changed. People who are totally against e-learning, they don't have any other option, or online learning, or using any means of technology. So even the practice over time, although the first few period, it was very challenging. Education continued, but not with the same pace. But by time, teachers, students, the parents coped more with this idea, and we saw the opportunity that it's time to move to the next, from just providing content as our Madrasa.org platform to a full learning experience to bridge this digital gap for those who are needing this now, and even after the pandemic. Digital learning can and will drive the education forward. The technology development in that area in this very short period was much faster than what have been done over the past 5 years. So what we did is we try to track all of these, try to put it together and provide a full digital learning experience and ecosystem. The term of digital learning is not clear also. So we are working with global partners like the mEducation Alliance, UNICEF and others to come to a close understanding of what digital learning is, how assessment will look like, what certificates and credentials should look like. And we think it's important to keep this dialogue, because there are huge potentials that we can make use of from digital learning.
Thank you very much, Dr. Alawiye. What you said about certificates, assessment, and all of that. So going beyond access to quality and certification is something that resonates with all of us. Mr. Kimoto, the same question to you. What adaptations did you have to do during COVID-19 to your products, your services, your programs? And are those adaptations going to last long? Over to you.
Yes, Pablo, and allow me to thank Honorable Adebayo and Ali for agreeing to share their experiences, because in sharing then we are able to build each other and also support each other, and we are able to understand the way the world is going. As COVID was announced in December 2019, come January, February, we prepared ourselves because we could sense that there shall be a problem. And therefore we prepared ourselves in radio, in television, and going online with Kenya Education Crowd, the platforms that we had been utilizing, kind of like to complement what is going on in the classroom. Now we started in March 2020, when our educational institutions closed down, we started changing that to be the main thing. So whereas we were used to doing it as complementary to support what has gone, now it became like the main thing in the classroom. And therefore, in terms of format of the lesson, the way the lesson was to go through to be able to pass on the concepts of the curriculum had to change. Incidentally, as we were saying it changes, now the country was on lockdown. And therefore, what we did is that we were able, because at where we have studios, we also have a resource center. We were able to bring in teachers who could stay in lockdown in the resource center together with the technical staff. And that way then we were able to reformat and have the radio, television, and digital content formatted in a way that it was like the main. And that went on in March, April, May, June, July, all the way to October, when we were starting to do opening of some of the classes. We tried as much as possible to even do some online rapid assessment or survey on the reception, and we still felt that we were not reaching all the learners. And therefore it was important as the schools reopen, they also do kind of like catch up with the curriculum from where they stopped and move on. At that point, I just want to also narrate that we were able to notice we need to monitor and check for ourselves how much is this doing in terms of education or delivery of the curriculum. And as all the schools were able to open in January, all the classes, all the levels reopened in January, and there was that loss of 9 months. And we had to reformat, and then instead of delivering our school term, because in Kenya, the weather is good, so any month can be a holiday month. The school terms became 11 weeks instead of 13 weeks. The holidays that are normally 4 weeks after every 3 months became 10 days after every school term, so that then we are able to catch up with the year. The radio and the TV continue to be used, now also complementing what has gone in the classroom. And our production of lessons are like now we are doing the next term that will come. So that as the term starts, the lesson and what is in radio, what is on TV, they are resonating. All those lessons are again stored in Kenya Education Crowd, so that even a learner has missed anything, they can be able to pick them from there and see them for free. During COVID, we were also able to liaise with the service providers of our mobile telephony, and they were able to provide some data for free for education. Yet when we did our monitoring, and this is where I want to come through and check how we were doing, among the teachers and the learners, only about 45% were using radio. The television was even higher, it was about 69%. But when we came to using the internet and all that, it was about 20%, basically 21.6% in using the Kenya Education Crowd and using YouTube, because we have a YouTube channel. And those figures still tell us, and this is to Pablo, that we are not reaching every learner. And therefore, as we move on, we see the lack of a good policy for graded learning. We don't have that. And as we continued, then we said, how do we bring our teachers to speed? We're trying to train teachers on how to hold online classes. We have even made some online programs for teachers on how to use ICT for learning, and the programs are available for free on Kenya Education Crowd. So all that is the effort in, and I'm concluding by saying that any device that one has is the best device for education, and also that we need the governments now to seriously develop practical policies to guide blended learning so that learner teacher plus learner technology would equal to a good curriculum delivery that then can lead to us going to assessment. Pablo, as I conclude, I would like to just know a few things about what Honorable Adebayo told us. If they did any monitoring, how did it show them? And when it comes to the use of social media for education, who quality assures that content, especially when you are talking about K-12 and below, where you need to have the content quality assurance. Now, by use of social media, as he narrated, who assures that quality of that content? And are all parts of the country reached with this? I'm interested also in the device that is taking like 5 days without charge. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kimoto. And I like this horizontal questions in the panel. I think I'll let Honorable Adefuye respond to that. And actually, right. But before that, wait a second. I think Mr. Kimoto's questions about engaging teachers, having a policy for blended learning is a really good transition to our next point of the agenda. But I let Dr. Adefuye respond to that in his time. But the policy is, as Mr. Kimoto was implying, is we have all the evidence that the most important factor for the successful integration or achievement or learning outcomes supported by technology in school-based instruction is engaging teachers and having motivated teachers and having skilled teachers in how to use that technology, how to integrate that technology in lesson plans. So engaging teachers is hugely important. And training teachers, we know, we can be candid here. We know that teacher training is widely used in every education system in the world, but we also know that teacher training has a thin record of being effective in actually changing behavior in a long-lasting way. So to all of you, starting with Honorable Adefuye, what strategies have you used to engage teachers in what you're doing so that they know about it, they are interested, what incentives? And if you do teacher training, what are some of the lessons learned? What type of teacher training has been most effective? So I'm going to start with Honorable Adefuye, but please, Honorable Adefuye, also feel free to answer Mr. Kimoto's questions. Over to you.
Okay, Mr. Kimoto, I'm going to have to ask you to repeat your second question. Just repeat both questions, because I don't want to get the wrong. So if you just repeat the two questions again. You said one about who quality assures what was online, the online content, right? Did I get that right? Who quality assures the online content? And the
particularly,
second, and the second was,
I think, the device.
Okay, the question was about the online content, particularly the social media one. I'm not worried about radio and TV because they are at the production point. There's a lot of quality assurance, but social media is open to all of us and we know what it means. And then the other one was the device. And if you have done any monitoring, how much reach are you making on learners? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. First of all, quality assurance on the social media aspect. First of all, we have our technical partners, New Globe, a big think tank that we're working with on EKOEXCEL. And our quality assurance department vetted everything that they did. It's a board, we work, EKOEXCEL is big, it cuts through all the departments of LASUBEB, the quality assurance, the co-curricular, the school support services, the the PRNS, planning, research, and statistics. So it cuts across. So everything is always vetted before it goes online by all the relevant departments. And of course, our technical partners also are on board to advise us on anything on the content. But you know, we are the state government. We know what can and cannot go. We go according to the curriculum and according to what the syllabus is supposed to be like. So all the content was well vetted, quality was well assured. And on the second question, the tablet going for 5 days. As I said before in my intro, the tablet is an Android-based device. It's more black and white, not color, so it doesn't take much energy. It's akin to your Kindle, like a Kindle device. So the teachers have it. It looks just almost like a notebook, and it doesn't consume power at all. In fact, if you want to increase the light, you can only increase the contrast. So that really saves power, doesn't take up much energy at all. So that's why I can go for 5 days without a charge. I hope I've answered your question, sir. So now we're moving on to the engaging of teachers. First of all, of course, with any new program, there will always be those fears, hesitations amongst those if they don't quite understand the vision yet. But we took time to sensitize them, the chairman and the board. We took time to engage all stakeholders. Even their bodies like the NUT, Nigerian Union of Teachers, the option, which is the body which takes care of the head teachers, to engage them and let them know that, look, this is the vision behind this project. This is what we want to see our children in the future. And Mr. Governor's vision is also for you to be on that global stage and where you could be ranked globally. So we had to allay their fears. We trained them in phases. We used the first 300 schools. There are about 13,000 teachers spread across 20 local governments. So and there are 1,016 schools. So we used the first 300, we trained the first 300 schools. We now use them as a baseline assessment to find out how well the program was doing. We used the 300 EKOEXCEL to measure up against those that weren't on EKOEXCEL, and the results were staggering. And even in the first 8 weeks, we had learning improved, especially in the terms of literacy, was more than 3 times the schools that went on EKOEXCEL. Numeracy was 2 times. They were learning two times faster than the schools that went on EKOEXCEL. Now, the teachers, we train them, we give them support, constant support, even after the in-person training, where we have them camped up and train them. We continually continue to train them even in the classrooms. We have coaches and mentors of our learning and development supervisors who visit them in the classrooms, observe them, and continue to mentor them until they attain that level, that quality and that level that we expect, which is in line with Mr. MBRGI, our governor's themes agenda, because we want a situation whereby our teachers are global and we want them to be the best in the world, basically. So that was it. We had to engage them. We had to make sure that their fears were allayed. Now they have become comfortable with the technology. They're confident of themselves. They have gone far beyond what we even expected of them. They're so happy. They are keyed into the vision for the program. The vision is to make sure that our pupils are ready for 21st century economy. And this foundation is what is really, truly important for them. So those are some of the techniques that we engage. We also motivate them as well. The governor gave out awards and cars to motivate them, to make sure that they're encouraged to do better. And right now we have teachers who are really, really fired up and really, really going with this project with the same vision. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Adefuye. Dr. Alawiye, over to you, how you engage teachers and your experience with teacher training and what's most effective to use your products and services. Over to you.
Well, I think I'll talk about teachers from two angles. First is the online platform, which is available and providing digital resources, and how we spread awareness that you have these resources and you have these tools and you can use it. So we try to approach it differently. Instead of just going to schools, we identified where are the platforms where the teachers are there, their social media accounts in terms of groups, their gatherings, the teachers' councils, and through all of these people, we try to engage and make them aware of the services and the solutions that are there to help them in terms of madrasa.org as content. And we also try to highlight successful models. We were surprised that some of the teachers took that content and deployed it and used it to achieve much higher results within the students' experiences. Now, if I go to the digital school, which is something that is ongoing, and we are talking about a full learning experience, we took great care of the professional development, because whatever technology we put into place, whatever equipments we put into place without proper training and professional development, and I differentiate between them because, we want them to know how to use these tools and technologies that we are giving or putting in their hands. And at the same time, we want them to enhance their teaching and learning experience from traditional teaching. We don't want teachers who just, if we move to e-learning and they will just, good morning, and he start lecturing the students. This is not digital learning, and this is not effective. And we've seen, many cases that, the students just close the camera and close the microphone and sleeping or whatever is happening. So this is not the teachers that we want. And that's why we invested a lot of time and effort with, our advisory council. We established an alliance for the future of digital learning within the digital school, where we try to engage with as much as possible, and we are also continuing to engage. And I'm happy to hear all of these lessons, to take all the lessons learned and see on the ground how it works. The program that we developed for the professional development, we did it with Arizona State University, and we focused on something, I would say, hybrid mode of training and professional development linked to an incentive scheme, and focused also on the root causes of the problem. So if we talk about teachers in many areas, especially in remote areas, you won't have a typical teacher. He will be someone who I might call a facilitator. He is someone from the community overseeing learning in this village. His requirements and expectations are different from a typical teacher. When we also looked into the challenges, they had people, the school leadership, for example, the principals, they need to be involved to understand what is digital learning and how it is going. Because sometimes teachers were doing some efforts, the principal don't know anything about it, and they go into clash. The same if you go to the education authority. They have those inspectors, and inspectors don't know what is digital learning or what is digital content. So we built 4 levels into our training program, which is hybrid online with a mentoring program and follow-up program for 6 months through the digital school for these teachers, facilitators, school leaders, and also the specialists or the inspectors. In this way, you can fully kind of drive this. And I would say the main idea in this, it's not just to put the teacher in a week or a month training program, and he should come out of it as someone who can do totally different teaching and learning. It's a change process. You need to connect them together as a community of educators. They can learn from each other, learn from the mentors. So this is what we are trying to do in our model. And we are measuring the progress and engagement. Actually, another training is starting in Egypt next week in the remote areas. And we are also seeing that it is totally different from a country to country or from a culture to culture. And these are also important considerations to any training program.
Thank you, Dr. Alawiye. Very, very useful. And I like how detailed your explanation was of different important components. So thank you very much. Mr. Kimotho, over to you. As a civil servant in the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development, I think you have a lot of experience about teacher training, not just on EdTech related matters. So I think I'm looking forward to listening to your response. Over to you.
Okay. Thank you, Pablo. And also I want to thank my colleagues in this panel again for sharing and so much wealth of knowledge and experiences from Ali and also from Honorable there. Kenya, when it comes to us doing the curriculum, we do help teachers or orient teachers on how to implement the curriculum. But the management of teachers in terms of recruiting teachers, deployment of teachers in various schools and their exit, there's a body that does it called Teacher Service Commission. But then our experience with the teachers is that when we started introducing technology, the teachers always sought for support. So if it is a radio lesson you are making, you always give it time so that you give a time at the beginning of the lesson, a time at the end of the lesson, so that the teacher can be able to use now that in the lesson. Meaning, if the teacher was teaching something, then they can be able to integrate this inside their lesson plan. On the same note then, we thought of introducing devices in schools, and in Kenya we call it the Digital Literacy Program that started in 2016. And every public school was given some devices for the learner, some device for the teacher, a projector, a content storage, and all these were to be used for purpose of integrating technology when one is teaching. We then started training the teachers because this is now curriculum implementation on how to do this integration of technology in teaching. I will tell you it is not easy, because if the teacher was trained many years ago, when technology was not there is when they went for the pre-service teacher training. The in-service one becomes something that you are saying, and some will take it, some will not. And that's how we decided, let's have an online course, because the online course, the ones who will go willingly, they will go the training and they will do that. We keep on checking, and the last time we did our monitoring, we noted that over 80% of the devices in schools are normally used, switched on, and they are used. And even if they are switched on, only about 60% of the teachers are willing to do some ICT integration. But even when they do that, only about that 8% we are pedagogically correct in using that. And therefore, it is a journey that we need to go through. And as I indicated at the beginning, as governments, and we start considering on learner, teacher, and learner technology to complete the curriculum implementation, this is an area that we really need to focus on making the teacher very comfortable and be in the forefront. Today in the morning, our First Lady was launching a program on learner safety digitally, child online protection and all that. And she talked about the learners who are there, we are talking about, they are always ahead of the teacher in technology. So we want to bring the teacher to that motivated situation whereby the teacher feels that they are ahead of the learner, or they are together with the learner in that technology. We have therefore gone ahead as the institute responsible for training of teachers below the university to restructure the diploma teacher education curriculum and introduced components of using the technology for pedagogically teaching every subject area. That we feel, although our teachers are really good, they are used in many countries in Africa, but then we want to even make it better, particularly for Kenya itself, as we position ourselves to be competitive in terms of service delivery. Then we want to build on that teacher. So those are the programs that are there for the teacher. We talked about motivating the teacher. When the teacher goes through the course, they get a certificate. More often than not, the Teacher Service Commission recognizes and is able to give them incremental credits. Those are the kind of rewards that are there, but as a country, we are not able to give them cars and other things like that. We wish we were able to, because the teacher is really everything to education. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kimoto. So I'm aware of time. I think we have around 5 minutes left because there's a plenary just after this event. So from all the questions we have, I think I would like to ask Honorable Adefuye and Mr. Kimoto and then Dr. Alawiye about partnerships with the private sector or partnerships. So Nigeria and Kenya are high in the interest of foreign investors and tech private companies. I cannot tell you how many times people come to UNICEF, and when we ask them, what countries would you like to deploy or to test your tech solution? Kenya and Nigeria are always there, with India and Pakistan and Indonesia, maybe. So how, Honorable Adefuye and Mr. Kimoto, how do you deal with all the private sector, domestic and international, knocking on your door? How do you engage? How do you assess? How do you partner with the private sector? And if there's any partnership with the private sector that you would like to highlight as especially valuable. Over to Honorable Adefuye. You're muted, Honorable Adefuye.
Sorry. Thank you, Mr. Pablo. Now, Nigeria is one of the largest economies in Africa in terms of GDP. It's number one. Lagos State, even as a state, ranks above the first 5 economies in Africa. So it's only makes sense that we have a lot of foreign investors and people wanting to do business here in Lagos. Now, EKOEXCEL, we have partners. Those are our technical partners. They are private sector, and EKOEXCEL is the result of that partnership. So that is one right there. Even at the secondary level, I think the Ministry of Education partnered with Microsoft to train our teachers on Teams and use of Microsoft tools and all that to enhance their work even at the secondary level. But if we're talking about the EKOEXCEL partnership, the partnering with the private sector will always work out well, because they have the resources and everything to invest. They also invest in the think tank, so to speak. They have all these there, and the New Globe has brought scientifically based pedagogy, which digital distributed and monitored in real time. We also have data-driven teacher development. And also, we monitor our schools now in real time because of that private partnership, private sector partnership. We have all these things. We are aware of all these things now. So, and Mr. Governor, being a man of vision and seeing what is good, seeing what is right, he wants the best for the public sector. He wants the children of the poor to have the same opportunities as everyone else. So he wants them to face the same quality of education. So we now monitor our schools. They are online. We can, at the push of a button, we know what's happening in this school. We have all the information with us. This data-driven, make data-driven policy choices, even in terms of investigation by our quality assurance. They have the information to help with their investigation. Now, this information, it's not just what we're looking at to make ourselves look sophisticated. No, this information is vital in the sense that every single school within Lagos State is geolocated. So what we have, we designed something called the situation room. Now, this situation room has an interactive TV screen with our learning and development officers, our quality assurance officers, and 1 or 2 members of the school support there. What they do there is, during office hours, they will monitor what is going on in our schools via the dashboard. And they take calls to dedicated lines for any crisis, any problem, any issues. And we also have a crisis response unit. This crisis response unit, the command of the chairman, once there's any problem, they are there even to the furthest parts of the state within an hour to ensure that, you know, there are no issues or problems, especially with learning or with the children or with abuse or anything of the sort. Now, this crisis response unit is made up of the very relevant departments. The directors themselves are part of that unit, like the school support, the co-curricular, the PRNS, the project department, and welfare. You know, those departments that can give immediate response to anything that is happening on the field. Now,
Honorable Adefuye, I'm just aware of time. So
okay,
we have
I'm
a few
sorry
minutes
about,
left.
I'm sorry about that.
No problem. This was super.
All I was trying to say is that in terms of ideas, the private sector, they are more creative when it comes to terms of ideas. They're more creative. So it's always good to partner with them. They have the finances. Most of them have everything. And the public sector is doing very well partnering with the private sector.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Adefuye. Mr. Kimoto, I'm sorry, in 1 minute, could you answer that question? Thank you.
Yeah, just very quick one that we have looked at EduTech in 3 dimensions. One is infrastructure, the other one is content, and the other one is capacity. In infrastructure, kind of like regularized so that people can be able to get what they can afford within given specifications that are in schools, and the government is also providing its own. On content, we have developed digital content standards and put them on the website so that anybody who wants to develop content, they can follow those, and then we do curation of that content using Kenya Education Crowd. On capacity, again, we touched on the teacher capacity, and we have also looked at the curriculum and divided it and put 3 areas of digital literacy: interacting with technology, creating with the technology, and sharing with technology. In a nutshell, that's what we have put to enable the private sector integrate with us, but also had very healthy relationships with UNICEF so that we can do accessibility, digital content for SNE, for special needs education, UNESCO for other areas as well. And we are now using the Universal Services Fund to do SchoolNet, to connect schools. I would really wish I was in the Lagos state where they're able to do all that. We do learning analytics like they have never been done. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kimoto. Dr. Alawiye, over to you to answer a question about a partnership you would like to highlight, or alternatively, something you wish you had known before you started working on these areas, on madrasa.org, on the digital school, something that really surprised you and you think everyone working on this should know?
Well, I'll try to answer both with the same answer. I think partnership is very critical. And it's not just about partnering with a party to receive a contribution or a support. I think partnership is key because we don't want to reinvent the wheel. We want to take successes from a country that works in this area, adapt it to another country, and this dialogue that just now is happening is very critical to partnership. That's why for the digital school, on the announcement date, we announced that we are announcing a partnership, an alliance for the future of digital learning, because we know digital learning is not yet mature. So we need to bring and put hands together with the technology sector, the academy sector, the global NGOs, the educationalists, ministries of education, and put this platform as a dialogue to discuss the challenges, the opportunities, even facilitate certain pilots, implementations. I think this is core for us. And if you ask me the second question, what if you had done before, it's this one, that, okay, the more I know about what's happening in different places on ground, not just academic, the better I was prepared and responded and designed all the programs. And the fact that education is not something that you have immediate impact or immediate answer. It's a change process. You want to develop teachers, you need to work on this. You want to enhance the quality of content or learning, you need to work on it. It's a change process, it takes its time. So from this meeting, I would like to thank everybody and welcome them to work with us. We are proud that mEducation Alliance, our partner in our Alliance for Digital Learning. And we are happy to extend and learn from Kenya and from all the other countries that are working here in Nigeria and others. So thank you. I hope I answered the questions.
Thank you. I'll have to rush a goodbye because a plenary is starting now or has started a minute ago. So thank you very much to all the panelists. This was super interesting and we went beyond general ideas, high-level vision to details. I think that's really appreciated by everyone. Thank you very much to mEducation Alliance for this. So with that, I'll wrap up. Goodbye. Have a good day or good evening wherever you are.
Thank you, Mr. Pablo.
Thank you very much.